Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Brian, and in today's video we're going to talk about exactly what you guys need to do in order to get a business credit card. Now, for anyone new to the channel, this is not an unfamiliar topic. I've actually made a ton of videos on this topic on how you guys can get business credit cards, what qualifies for business credit cards, and even the benefits of business credit cards. So I'm not going to put all of that information in this video just because I have made those videos before and they're way more in depth than squeezing something in on this. The main priority and the main focus of this video is going to be teaching you guys exactly what to do on your application if you're trying to get one of your first business cards. So what I'm going to do is have some cards linked above, and what you guys can do is just check out those videos. They will be in a playlist, and if video and audio really isn't your way of learning, I also have a in-depth blog that I will have listed down below in the description on how you guys can also get a business credit card. That blog is going to be a step-by-step walkthrough. It's basically going to be exactly what I cover in this video, but I'm going to make this video pretty short, pretty straightforward, and pretty simple. So let's actually get straight into it. One of the biggest questions I've been seeing is, Brian, does personal score matter? We know that business credit cards don't affect your personal credit score. So the Amazon Business Prime card is just a random business card I pulled out of my wallet, and I think this is a pretty good example because it has some unique benefits. Now, the benefit is that if you do buy something crazy expensive, say you have like a $2,000 balance on your Business Prime card, because it is a business credit card, it's not going to report to your personal credit scores. Now, normally, if this business credit card that I have right here, if this was not a Amazon Business Prime, if this was a Amazon Personal Prime card, you guys would actually see your score go down the following month, and that's because you do carry that balance. But because this is a business credit card, the whole point is that this will not affect that personal credit score. But people often confuse that rule with the fact that when you're applying for a business credit card, initially they will have to pull from your personal credit report. They need a check somehow. So generally people confuse that rule that I just talked to you guys about with the fact that when they're applying for a business credit card, that their personal score is not involved. That is a popular misconception right there, and I do see why people get that often confused. But here's the thing, you guys, if you do not have a good personal credit score, say your credit score is about 500 right now, it's very unlikely that you can get approved for these business credit cards. So before you even consider getting a business credit card, make sure your credit score is at least 650, 680. You really want to be in that 700 range. Now, another misconception before we get into the two ways you guys can actually apply for a business credit card is that people believe that you need to make a lot of revenue. There's no minimum revenue amount for you guys to actually get qualified for a business credit card. For example, in our Facebook group, we have a ton of members who actually haven't really started their business yet, but they do want to be able to use business credit cards for when they do. So business credit cards can really be a preparation tool for when you're trying to start your business. Or if you're someone who has a side hustle, maybe you help out your neighbors with their travel plans, maybe you dog sit for someone, maybe you've sold an item on eBay. These are all considered businesses because you're profiting, because you're making money, and because you're providing a service. Now, with those things in mind, you need to realize that revenue is not a huge thing that these credit card issuers are looking for. Generally, the most important factor before you actually get a business card is really going to be your personal credit score. Now, like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, make sure you guys check out my other videos if you guys aren't so sure about what business credit cards do. I go really full in depth on exactly the full benefits, and I'm actually going to go on the application and show you guys exactly the two easiest ways to apply for business credit cards. To start out, one is to actually apply with your social security number. Everyone has it. If you're a US citizen, you are born with a social security number. You can actually punch that in. Go in as a sole proprietor and then go through the list of what that business category is and then put the rest of your personal information and just use your first and last name as the business name. It's definitely the easiest way, but I would put in a little bit more work and actually go ahead and get your EIN. Your EIN is your employer's identification number. That is actually very similar to the SSN, but that's really on the business side. So we have our SSN. The SSN, or the social security number, is something that classifies us, but you can actually apply completely for free on irs.gov and get your own EIN number. That actually creates an entity for the business. So it's like getting a social security number for a business. And now for that second method, once you get your EIN, I would do everything similar to what you did with the SSN or the first method that I taught you guys. But let's just go into my computer just so you guys can visually see what I have going on. All right, guys, so I'm actually in my computer right now, and I'm going to go through step one, just exactly how this is all going to happen. And starting with step one, most likely you guys actually found this video from YouTube. So we're going to start from a video. Okay, here's one of my older videos. I'm going to click on the links, and this is actually an affiliate link to creditcards.com. They're an affiliate partner, and if you guys are actually interested in applying for any of the business credit cards, it really does support the channel whenever you guys use those links. There really is no obligation though for you guys to use those links. If you do have friends or if you do have any family members that may have a referral link, I recommend you guys taking their link. But if you guys don't have any friends just like me and you guys want to be able to support the channel, this is a free, easy way. You guys aren't losing anything, and it definitely does help me to be able to push out more content just like this. So this is what I'm doing. I'm actually going to apply for the Inc. Business Unlimited card right here. This is going to take us to a portal, and generally you're going to see the application page right here. Very straightforward. I'm going to click on apply now, and it's just like any other card. I don't know why my bookmarks tab keeps coming up. There we go. I know on this page it looks a little intimidating. Definitely when I first applied, I was kind of scared too, even though I had my own business, which was making good revenue. But here's the thing. When it comes to the legal name of the business, like I mentioned, you just want to type in your full name. So Brian Jung, name on the card, Brian Jung. First full name, first full last name, your business mailing address, 1313 Brian Jung Boulevard, and whatever city you guys live in, okay? Hollywood. I feel like I don't need to go through all this, but just for example, that's, you just put in your address. So type of business, generally you're going to be a sole proprietor unless you guys actually have a corporation, maybe an S Corp or a C Corp, or even if you have a partnership. Generally though, most people are going to be a sole proprietor, just because if you are LLC'd, if you are trying to be a corporation, or if you're trying to be a partnership, you do have to pay filing fees to be able to get that status. When you're trying to be a sole proprietor, it's generally free depending on where you live. So for me, for example, in the state of Maryland, I've started a bunch of businesses. Some of my businesses actually weren't able to make me any revenue at all, and I wasn't able to make even like a couple $100s profit. With those businesses that I've tried where I actually lost money, you're not going to be expected to pay taxes on those if you didn't make a profit, or if you're making very little revenue. So that revenue threshold, sometimes it's a couple $1,000s, sometimes it's $500. It depends on what state you live in and what county you live in as well too. Now, I'm no legal professional, I'm no accountant, I don't have my CPA degree. I'm just a guy on YouTube that has gotten many business credit cards, and I've gotten many people approved for business cards too, with the blogs and with the content I have on my channel. So this is all based off of my experience. But if you guys are really curious about taxes and just things related to that type of nature, I would recommend you guys to actually consult a tax agent or maybe your own accountant. Like, hey, what are the rules? How much tax do I have to pay if I make like $2,000 or $3,000 on my side hustle here? So generally with your business phone number, you can put your personal phone number, completely fine. And when we get into this part, the tax ID number, this is where you either put in your social security number or you put in your EIN. Now, because I have my EIN, I would rather use that. But if you guys are someone who doesn't even want to get to that step, you can use your social security number and put that in there as well. Generally for the employees, it's going to be one person, but if you have a family member helping you guys out and they're considered like your employee, you could list them right there too. When it comes to annual business revenue and sales, this is really going to be dependent on you. Some people actually don't make any revenue or sales. Now, if I applied on American Express's website, there's like a minimum, I think it's a couple $1,000s that you have to put, but generally this isn't something that's going to be too crazy. But I would not lie on this part. I would be very straightforward. So if I made only $10 revenue, say I sold like a Snickers bar, I'm putting in $10. That's how much revenue I've made. So years in business, very straightforward. If I've only been in business for about 1 year, I'm putting the number 1 in here. Now, general industry is where people often have a lot of questions because there are a lot of things. So as a YouTuber, let's just do my profession, for example, or even like marketing. I'm not gonna be able to find something like digital marketing or like a Facebook ad specialist. That stuff is just too relatively new. So if we were talking about my own marketing agency, I would go into business services. That kind of falls under that umbrella. So if you're someone who's into e-commerce, you maybe sell things on Poshmark or eBay or items just online, that's considered non-store retail or internet retail. And you guys can actually find that under the general industry section. So as someone who's a YouTuber, someone who has a blog now, what I would actually do to apply for a brand new credit card is actually go under individuals. Once you're under individuals, there is actually another subset category. It's called non-classifiable establishment. And that's just what I would consider myself as a YouTuber or someone running your blog. Usually you don't have a full scale team. Usually it's just you. After we fill that information out, we're going to go down to the personal information. This is pretty much halfway done. And this is very easy. This is what you guys would normally do on a regular credit card application. Just fill out your regular information. You would normally be the owner of the business. Now going down, you do put your social security number. This is, like I said, because they actually pull from your personal credit report to check what your score is to make sure that you're eligible for these cards. If you're someone who has a 450, 500 credit score, chances are you're not going to get approved for this, but they do require you put your SSN in, not because they're going to report to it, but because they're going to pull from it to check what your score is currently. Now, the second most important thing on this application is going to be your total gross annual income that you get from your normal job or from whatever you do. So if you're not making that much money from your business, but you're making $50,000 or $60,000 from your corporate job, that is where you put that information into that section of the application. This is where you want to be honest, but if you're living with a spouse, if you have a wife, if you have a husband, if you're living with them and they have an additional $50K that they're bringing in, and combined household annual income under your roof can add up to $100,000. Or another example is maybe you live with your parents still, or maybe you live with your grandparents and they do still have some income coming in. As long as you talk to them and you get their permission, you verify with them, and you have access to some of their tax forms where you could provide evidence if it is asked, then you can put down your household annual income. It's not just for you. So I also made a video on that in the past when I was first starting my channel, just on exactly what you guys can put down on that total gross annual income part, or what you guys should put on a credit card income application. It's a pretty in-depth video. I give a lot of different perspectives. I think it was like a 20-minute long video, but if that's something you guys aren't sure about, I would recommend you guys to actually watch that video, because you guys really don't need to put down like a couple $100,000 or even six figures on the total gross annual income part if you're not making that much. But generally, if you're trying to get approved for a credit card and you think you're not making enough money or your income's not that high, I would just look at the median income around your area. So that really was the easiest ways for you guys to actually get accepted for business credit cards. Keep in mind, Chase is going to be the hardest to get initially. They're usually going to ask for some type of verification with like a utility bill. An EIN sheet is also a very good resource that you get from free from the IRS that you can also provide. So there are a ton of ways for you guys to actually get these business credit cards, but keep in mind, Chase is going to be the hardest initially. I've told this story countless amount of times, but when I got my first Chase Inc. business card and I was scaling my business, although we were doing thousands of dollars a day in revenue, they were still giving me a pretty hard time with obtaining my first business credit card. But once you get that first business credit card, the application process is usually very easy after that. You shouldn't be surprised if you get automatic approvals, everything after that. And when it comes to American Express, they're going to be much more easier in getting business credit cards. So if you just want a business credit card, you want a high business credit limit, and you want to take advantage of that no APR, and you don't want it to affect your personal credit report, maybe you're planning to have some big purchases or some big investments coming up, I would start with American Express's Blue Business Plus or Blue Business Cash Card first, just because usually they do offer some better type of incentive and they're much easier to get approved for. So generally, when you're applying for your first business credit card, there is going to be some type of follow-up phone call or some type of verification, but generally that call is very easy. So my other friend who actually recently applied for his Blue Business Plus card, he had to call American Express, and all he had to do was call them, let them know who he was, and they proved it right on the spot, and he was good to go. So really, this whole process isn't that difficult, you guys. I do understand that it can be a scary process for a lot of people, but just understand that business credit cards do offer a lot of advantages. If you guys are really trying to scale your credit card game to the next level, this is something that will help it, just with the immense amount of points and what you guys can do to actually leverage this. Now, one of my jobs as a YouTuber is to really break that stigma on how hard it could be to actually get one of these cards. I hope these videos do help you guys out. If you're someone who's been sitting on the fence, I hope this is something that really does push you over. And like I mentioned earlier in this video, you guys, if you do want to support the channel, I do have those links down below in the description, but there's no obligation to use it. Just feel free if you guys do want to support the channel. It's actually about to be the end of 2019 soon. My birthday is coming up, December 29th. That's coming up soon. New Year's is coming soon. And there's just a lot of changes that's going on in my own personal life too. As you guys can tell, I usually film in my room, and I've been living with my parents my whole life. So for me personally, I have no issues with that, just because I want to spend as much time with my family as possible. I know that in the chance I ever do move out, it's going to be hard just to be able to spend that quality time over and over again with my family. And I think in my life personally, family is just one of the biggest things, just because my parents are like first generation Koreans. They still work hard. They didn't grow up with much, and moving to the US for them was a difficult transition. But what I realized is this is really kind of taking a toll on my mental health on the low key. This video, it's actually not too late. It's actually only like 6:10 on the rare occasion, but generally you guys will see me filming these videos at like 2 or 3 in the morning, all the way up till 4 or 5 a.m. So My sleep schedule is messed up because for me to be able to produce content, I would have to do it in the middle of the night when my family is asleep so I can actually make videos in peace. That's something that was actually getting pretty difficult for me. I never say that in any of my videos just because it's kind of like a back end systems things. It doesn't attribute to the success of any of my videos, but it's just one of those things that's always happens, I guess, to me. And I'm pretty young, you guys. I'm 22 years old compared to a lot of the other guys in the personal finance niche or even in the credit card industry. I've never moved out before. I never had to dorm or go to another apartment for school. I went to community college, so I always commuted. So this is like the biggest change in my life, and I'm actually doing this more for the fact that I can produce content more often, more quality content, and not worrying about noise, sound, or when I can do work, when I can't do work. Those things are really bugging me. So this is a huge transition in my life that I'm going to go through soon. I've never done anything like this. I'm pretty scared, honestly, and I'm really doing this just so I can improve the content of my channel. So I guess this is the stuff that I have to sacrifice as a YouTuber. When you work a 9 to 5 and you have your own office, you go in and you clock out. But with something like this where I'm actually talking to a camera, it's a little bit more different. So guys, wish me luck. I don't know what to expect, but I'm actually super excited. We're actually going to have a new setup in a couple weeks. So I know some of my OGs will remember this, but drop a cake emoji if you guys are watching me up until this point. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and hope I see you guys in the next one. Peace.